Spencer, I was waiting for the first time ever prepared for your interjection, and you didn't do it.
I keep it changed up. You never know what's coming from me.
The fucking prestige over here. Absolutely, Mark. Tell everybody, and thank you for tuning in to DM Writer's Room. This is the show where we demystify the TTRPG process. Often it has to do with dungeon mastering, which is, of course, for only Dungeons and Dragons. Occasionally, we walk off in one of a dozen other directions to take a look at other kinds of games, other game systems on occasion. Today is just one of those days. We are returning to a favorite, at least for us, we have a decent time doing it, one-page one-shot. So, if you haven't watched one of our streams before, we usually come up with dungeons and magic items and monsters and all kinds of things live. Today, we are trying to come up with a one-page RPG live. We've done this 3 times before, and one of those RPGs you can actually buy. We finished it the rest of the way, formatted it, and published it. That's called The Last Thanksgiving, which is on itch.io, and another one called Resonance is also out and about. So if you really like this idea, hang on for just a shy few months, and it will be up and out. We always talk about trying to get them out faster than that, but, you know, we all do our best. So normally, the way that this works is each of the 3 of us brings a pitch, or comes up with it right in the moment because we forgot to bring one. And then we either pick between them if we have a strong favorite, or we end up rolling a die to determine which one we're going to do. So last time we had settled on Resonance, which was Spencer's pretty long-term. He had pitched that to us a few times and then finally sort of rent our arms behind our backs by
I just said,
in...
don't worry, guys, I got it. And I made us do it.
And so it was good for him to finally get to make the Voltron RPG that he craved. Today, I at least have another idea that I'm excited about, so we'll have to see how we are going to get this done. With all that out of the way, I will start by providing my prompt, and then we can just go around the circle here. So my idea for one-page RPG, I don't have a title in mind, but it is The Borrowers, like the movie. You are either small fae or just very small people seeking mundane treasures. So it is a one-page RPG where you play like the little people that live in the wall, that steal the extra buttons and the AA batteries that you need and grab the sock out of the bottom of the dryer. We are playing those people, addressing the problems in their lives by stealing from the people that live in the home that they are living in residence in.
I will go next. Mine is going to be a hack of a one-page RPG that already exists called Everyone is John. I don't know if either of you have heard of Everyone is John. It is, I would say, at its core, problematic, and that's why I want to do something about it. Okay. Everyone is John is a competitive one-page RPG for 3 or more people, where everybody is a competing personality inside a guy named John, who comes out and takes control over John to do things.
Yeah.
And they each have a compulsion that they want done. One can be starting fires. The other one can be like stealing cars. The next one can be like petting dogs. It's any compulsion. Like you pick it and then you keep it secret from everybody else. And you use willpower to take over John and successfully do your tasks. But the other ones use their willpower to take over to stop you from taking control of John and doing your compulsion. Pretty obvious why this is problematic. My pitch on the hack would be akin to like a council, like a town council, that you are controlling the actions of an entire village or town or city as threats arise and things are happening. You use willpower to gain sway over that council, to stop the barbarian invasion, or to, you know, stop the flow of goods from here to there, stuff like that. So it's controlling a town, and you want your own goals to be met. So your goal could be make as much money as possible, while another person's goal is stop that guy from getting what he wants. So it adds in that competitive.
So kind
aspect.
of Sim City, but with competing goals.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I can get into it. Michael.
And it ends when you burn all of your willpower. That's it.
All right, there we go.
That's nice.
Michael.
My turn?
Michael, what's yours?
Cool. So mine is, it's loose idea, but I like the medium that I thought about for it. It's called Breakthrough. I'm thinking like a train heist sort of RPG. But the medium makes it a little bit of a PvP game. Spencer, I think you'll know this. Ethan, I don't know if you'll know this medium. I'm thinking old, like, Olive Garden kids menu. The square, where like, you take turns to draw a line.
Yes.
And so Ethan does know it. Does Spencer know
And
it?
you try to get
No,
as
I
many
don't know what you're talking
squares as
about.
like you claim
You
the
can-
squares.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you're filling in the squares. You're competing to make the most money in the bank heist. What's the competition aspect?
It could be. That's kind of what I was thinking. Whoever can make the most money, or it could be trying to. It's one or two of you are the heisters, and one or two of you are the people trying to protect the train.
And that's what I was gonna say. It could be a 2-player, 1-page RPG where one of you is the lawman and one of you is the robber, and you're going against each other to thwart that person or get.
Now, I gotta be honest. At first, I had a lot of questions about this idea. But now that it is shifting into, it is a small game where it's like one person plays the hero and one person plays the bad guy, I'm liking it more, especially with the thought that the person playing the bad guy is playing like 9 people. Like the good guy is playing John. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of the guy from Die Hard. Is playing John McClane. And the other guy is playing 18 terrorists as they try to take over. And so that way, it makes it fun for the villain to get to die like 10 times.
True.
All right, that's interesting. All right, so
Okay.
our 3 ideas are Borrowers, where you play small people seeking mundane treasures. SimCity Medieval Edition, where with competing goals you try to assert your control over the council. And Breakthrough, a train heist game where you are at odds with your fellow players. Where do we have any early preferences, or do we need to yet again resort to rollies?
I'm going to pull my idea off the table. I want to do something for everyone as John, but I don't know if my idea is cooked up enough yet. So I'll pull mine off. That gives us the 50-50 odds here. I like the marketability of Ethan's game because it's incredible vibes. And I like the interesting mechanic and the 2-player aspect of Michael's game. So this is real rough.
These are
I might have to do rolls.
There's a
I might
good
have to do rolls
mechanic
for
at the
this.
heart of both of these, which I'm into. Again, I think I have a good vibe, and Michael has a good mechanic. I really like that idea of that competition aspect. I at first was a little puzzled by, but now makes a lot of sense. All right,
rollies.
Wanna roll?
Both of you roll a d20, and whoever rolls higher wins.
okay.
Oh, I thought we were going to use a good old D2.
Not this time.
All right, I'm gonna roll my.
I'm going to roll my very loud die. 32, 1,
6.
13.
13.
Ooh,
I'm not giving up on my Borrowers
heist.
RPG.
Oh, God, no. Don't give
I'm
up.
writing
That
it down
sounds
on the
super
Trello board.
fun.
Shout out
Wait,
to
what's it called,
Trello, the thing
Borrowers?
that made us solvent as a company. If it weren't for Trello, man. All
Also,
right.
Michael, big note for you. Since you moved your mic placement, your dice are not an upsetting volume anymore.
That doesn't make any sense because it's closer to where I roll the dice.
Nah, it's so much better.
Did you have a mic arm before, or is the mic arm the change?
No, I've always had the mic arm. It's just before I had my mic over here, kind of,
Yeah.
and now I've brought it over here.
I wonder if it shifts the weight in a way that is, oh, my camera fixed itself, in a way that is like a little more favorable or something silly like that. All right, so we are going to be looking at a 1-page RPG called Breakthrough, and we want to. Our opening idea is that it is a train heist game where you are competing for territory. It sounds like that is going to be our main thing. So we know that the entire right-hand column of our 1-page RPG is a map of a train. Is like 4 cars of a train. Or, so it's either, I can see it one of 2 ways. I can either see it as like the car is like the width of a note card, and you're trying to control like square sections, or it's a line of little train cars, and there's like 12.
I think a line of little train cars.
All right, I could go either. Let's not make any choices here in the heat of the moment. I think we could go either way. So, all right, so we are kind of competing for territory a little bit, right? That is the competition aspect of this, is who has that dominant stake, especially as you get closer to the end. And I also see a nice, clear way to end this game, which is always awesome, which is that we have a time limit, right? The train is going to reach the station. Even if we don't stick with the train metaphor and it becomes like larger, just a heist game, right? You have an amount of time until the rest of the police arrive, if you are playing the criminal. And you have an amount of time until the bad guys are probably going to get away, if you are playing sort of law enforcement.
Yeah, I think a cool way of doing that, mechanic wise, is you're playing with limited set amount of moves on this play field. And if you want like a longer game, make a bigger field.
Yeah, I think that works. My only gripe, I think the only thing that I don't think we can actually do is just play. If the core mechanic becomes the squares game you're talking about, then they could just play the squares game. Like, then we're just saying do improv while you play the squares game. So we have to add some kind of randomized element that they can influence. Because otherwise it's just, I get in front of him, line. I put my revolver, line. Like, it's going to be a very repetitive sort of...
Yeah, I could see there being stuff where it's like, you get to draw over the other person's line. You get two lines in a row, stuff like that. For different things you do.
You're gonna have to work really hard to win me over on this line mechanic. You're gonna have to work really hard to win me over on this line mechanic. I gotta be honest, I am not in so far. But I trust that we will figure it out as we go here. All right, so we have a couple of things to decide here as we are making our way through. Number one, the most important choice, I think, when making a one-page RPG, is somebody in charge? Is somebody weaving a tale? Or not so much?
Not this time. This is a 2-player game, baby. You're both in it. You're telling it together.
Okay, so we are sticking to that 2-player thing. I think that works. That gives us a certain degree of adherence there. And what I like about that is, I think maybe when you start, if it's just supposed to be the two of you, I think our opening mechanic is pretty basic. It's just you telling us what the situation is. I think our criminal gets to tell us what they are stealing. Right.
And I'll put this out there. People love random tables for one-page RPG. Do we want to do a D6 of heist materials, like things you're trying to get? A Fabergé egg. A big pile of gold.
Well, so this was my question. I think what I would enjoy, I like the idea of the criminal gets to pick what they are stealing, and the guard gets to pick. If we were going to do it not with random tables, it would be the criminal picks what they're stealing and the guard picks what they're stealing it on. Like, are we on a train? Are we on an airship? Are we in, Yakatomo Plaza or whatever it is? That would be like my first instinct. If we like a random table better, then we can just skip that. And it's, you roll random. Yeah, see, this is where we're going to do a weird mix right now. This is where we're going to get really in deep here. This is you can only get this stuff on this show. A one-page RPG, most people are going to buy and play exactly one time for fun with their friends, and so having the random table is a boon. If anybody goes to play this game a second time, and we have a very specific random table of what you are stealing, it is not going to be a boon anymore. It's going to very quickly be like, oh, there's 4 things, and 3 don't make sense to us. Like,
it's the honey heist system of random generation that we'd be going with the random tables. I'm for it. If for no other reason than we're doing things different than we've been doing them on other one-page RPGs so far, it's a 2-player game, it's GM-less, adding tables in, all 3 of those things will be different from our former one-page RPG. So I'm interested in following that
meet in the middle.
train.
I'll say yes to the table if the table's a little vague.
Oh, yeah.
If the table's if the table's a little vague. All right.
Something from your past, like some shit like that. Sure.
All right, and so the criminal would roll on one table, and then the lawkeeper would roll on the other. We should probably let's stay away from law and criminal feels a little bit loaded. Let's I think let's go back in time a little bit, and I think that will help us. How's thief and guard?
Yeah.
I feel like we need to stay as far away from the cops and robbers verbiage as we can, sort of geographically. I think that might be a good idea.
Sure.
And I think that opens up more options for, like, you're stealing something from a guy's house, and the guard is the guy who owns the house. It's not a cop. Like, there's more availability.
The number of times that the other person would say, like, my name is Zane Darkblade. I am here to steal the ruby of 1,000 suns. And I'd be like, I am the guard dog Biscuits. I get biscuits if I catch people trying to break in. That's my goal. That's my drive in this.
Get you.
That's my shinobi way. Is that I want those good milk bones. Like, that would just, the temptation would immediately overtake me to be like, that's great that you're an assassin whose parents were killed by wolves. I am a lovable but mischievous parakeet named Winston.
I am gonna bite you. I'll bite you.
I don't say anything. I just go. I do alarm noises.
I am a security camera, just watching you and then laying down traps. Just an automated security system.
See, this is all great. I'm the house's AI. Like, these are all the fun options. Just as fun as being like, I'm a guy in the, I'm a divorced cop trying to rekindle his marriage while I solve this crime.
Is for the.
Do we need a random table of these?
That's what I'm saying. I think we might need a random table for who is the thief, who is the guard.
I'm a random passerby who felt like it was my job to do this.
Sort of a Paul Blart Mall Cop situation in Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now my question then, so we are definitely going to circle back on those. So for those of you just tuning in now, we are making a one-page RPG live. Where we are at so far is that it is a heist game where you are competing for territory. It is a two-player game where one of you is the guard and one of you is the thief, and pretty much all of the setup is going to be determined by random tables, with the thief deciding, getting a prompt on what they are stealing and a prompt on who they are. You know, you're a down-on-your-luck criminal, blah, blah, blah. And the guard getting the same, where are you guard? Like, what is the location you are guarding, and who are you? And we've given such examples as a lovable house pet, or an off-duty guard, or some other nonsense like that, which I think rolls pretty well. So our next decision that we have to make, one of the most boring, but it is one that you have to make nice and early so that the rest of the game lends into it. What is the actual mechanic for this game going to be? So if we
lines and more lines,
I will need to be persuaded with beyond what I think is possible.
The dice rolling mechanic can be, I think, synchronized with the lines. You would roll a d6, and the result of the d6, plus or minus modifiers, is how many lines you are allowed to draw per action you take. So you're saying, I'm going to go do this thing. You roll for it. It gives you 3. You draw up that way, and you fill out the line. You got something?
Yeah. What if there's a step here at the end, which is the win-lose condition. What if there is, like, we have this little map of the train, and the thief gets to put a little, like, pip of some kind down. We can say, like, any item in your house. And the guard gets to draw a certain number of walls. Like, they roll a d6 and they get to draw that many walls. And the thief gets to move that many places, like, when they roll, and needs to try to, like, stay out of getting blocked into, like, a cell of walls. Yes, no?
I like it. I'm trying to picture it on, in game. So yes, I like it. I'm still trying to we need to
rig up some kind of like Wacom thing.
Drawing pad.
Yeah, so what I'm imagining is if you close your eyes, go into the mind space with me
yes,
here.
I'm
if you imagine graph paper in front of you, one of the people draws a little X in a square. And then the guard gets to rolls a d6, they roll a 4. They get to draw 4 lines that are walls. Mm-hmm. Then the thief rolls a d6, they get a 5. They get to move 5 spaces away. And so they are constantly rolling back and forth. And so the guard is trying to draw the walls in such a way that they trap the thief in a closed shape.
I see.
The borders of the shape don't count. You need to capture them all within drawn walls. The only thing that, and it also gives us the opportunity to not be stuck in like the train car up and down, and uses the box mechanic to decent effect.
I like that.
And our abilities can like the thief. If we have like thief classes, if like each of these random thief backgrounds has a different ability, one of them could be like demolitions. You can knock a wall down every turn. Another one could be like speedster. You know, you get to add +2. Another one could be like tenacious. They need to trap you twice.
What I like about it is it gives a level of success beyond just keep the item if you're the owner or take the item if you're the thief. It is now capture the thief or the thief capture the item. It's box them in, get them trapped. Sort of a like Home Alone style. Again, Nakatomi Plaza.
And of course we need to place, and you also place the item somewhere on the grid.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're trying to get to that point, so you're blocking them in before they can get to it, trying to capture them.
And
before
there's some weird rules that we're gonna have to do, like you are not allowed to fully block in the object. You are not allowed to, you know, there's a lot of silly things like
you
that.
can just do full reinforcement there.
Do we want end game the I'm gonna say criminal, not criminal, the thief.
The thief.
Yep. Do you want endgame thief to just be at the item, or are we trying to they get the item and then bring it to area like that's the escape?
Probably get to the item and then get out, right?
Okay. And do we want to give like a negative or something when they have the item?
They get
over
slowed down
encumbrance.
with the item.
I don't know. I see. This is where I get a little. Maybe we might just have to work on that. Where it might be the most annoying version I would have is they start somewhere. They need to get to the item, and then to escape, all they need to do is get to any border of the paper. All they need to do is get to the edge of the paper. Because I think the thief should be much harder. I would actually have the counter idea, Michael. I would think that once the thief has the item, the guard is in panic mode. They are like essentially screwed.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that makes sense because the goal of the game is get the item. It loses some luster after the item has been gotten for the thief. So having a quick end after that point, I think, is for the best. With like a Hail Mary attempt from the guard is fun.
All right. I like that.
What I like is this is a 2-player game, but we could say like this is a 2-player game up to infinity. Like you can have as many people as you want.
Yeah.
They just aren't. They're just only allowed to narrate and are never allowed to play or roll dice. Like if you want to play with 30 people, you can have 2 teams of 15, but you would need to elect the roller. Like
Yeah, the main characters of the story.
you need to elect your Hans Gruber and your John McClane, and everybody else is just like, I run out and get shot. It's like, yeah, all right, cool turn.
Yep.
Somebody's the idiot FBI guys who mess up the whole thing at the end. Yeah, it's gonna be great. All right, so the guard draw the walls, the thief moves, and the thief is trying to steal and get to edge. So now my question is, we like to stick to household items. I love a 1d6. I love each character having 1d6 because that's 2d6, which is the amount of dice you have if you open a Monopoly board and take the dice out. You have, I think, right? 2d6 is usually what most games come with.
Yeah. So 1d6 is perfect for me. And it's the right feeling. Like, it's the right amount of, like, numbers. You're not doing a d20 where it's like, I moved 20 spaces! I put 20 walls down! We don't need that.
But
the
it
other
could
fun
be
thing
funny.
we could do is we could have
It could
two.
be.
We could again have 2 or even 3 difficulties, or lengths of game. Like on the front of the page, we could have a little one in the corner. We could have like a little 5x10 grid. That's gonna go very fast. And on the back, we could have like
Robbing
a
a
medium
cabin.
one, and then a giant square one.
Yeah. It's the entire back of the same page. It's like, this is the big one.
Yeah. And then on our website, we sell the Foolhardy edition, and it's a 60 by 60. Like, you play for 9 days.
Use a whiteboard for
It's like
it.
Risk.
Oh.
you're having to describe. Can you imagine having to go to the same game night like 8 nights in a row to play a one-page RPG because you're like, all right, I at this point I have gone to the hardware store and purchased the equipment I need to make an improvised explosive device. You have to scale down that slow.
I don't know if there's a single one-page RPG with interesting enough mechanics to do 8 sessions back to back. There's no way.
I really don't. All right, cool. So I think that's a lot of the preliminary work done, which is great. So we are making a one-page RPG. This is we have to always recap and go through. We are making a one-page RPG called Breakthrough, which is a heist game where one person plays a guard and the other person plays the thief. There is a territory limit, and the two are competing. The thief is trying to get an item and get to any border of the map, while the guard is trying to lock the thief in with a certain number of walls. We have to be a little bit careful with that, because technically anytime they roll a 4, they could just... so it's probably just that you are not allowed to draw a complete box on the same turn. Like, you aren't allowed to just block one off. You need to do, like, 3 and then a 4th annoying direction, which I think makes a lot of sense. Each character has a d6, and we are using random tables, but we do want a little bit more mechanic of some kind here. So if we're sticking to 6s, then I think our next thing is to look at our various random tables and decide A, which of these will make any mechanical difference, and B, which of these will not. And that way we can just figure out which ones matter the most, take care of those first, and that way we can crack mechanics and also take a look at what each thing should be. So number 1, we have what are you stealing? So I will call that target roll. Do we want the target? Does the target roll change anything? Is it mechanical in any way, or is it just to prompt the item?
I think that's just the item.
Okay.
I don't think that it changes anything.
No mechanic. All right, I like it. Up next, the one that I'm already going to say I think obviously should have a mechanic. Thief. What kind of thief are you? I think this obviously should be kind of our class system to some degree.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have there's some obvious ones we can get off rip right away.
And we should.
Do we want to do?
We should have 6.
Do we want to do flavor first, or do we want to do dice mechanics that are functional and good?
I think we need to keep the two connected. I think I've already said one that I think works, which is we have some kind of demolitions expert and they get to destroy a wall on their turn.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty essential.
So we
Is
got
it just one wall per turn?
Yeah, because that's a really good thing to be able to do.
Oh, that's super strong. I don't know how they would lose.
The answer is after 4 walls surround you, you can't destroy the wall. You can destroy one wall when you're not surrounded. Once you are completely closed in, you're done.
Well,
that would be my answer.
That's interesting. So my answer would just be the wall around you would never be 4 small squares. They would need to like really maze chicken pen you in until finally they close the last one and you realize that you are now standing inside of a closed shape. Right? We've created a fundamentally tactical role-playing game, and so we are going to have to get over that. Like, at the end of the day, it is going to be like across 8 turns, can you set up walls so that it doesn't look like they are going to be locked in until they take that last step? You roll a 3 and go, and draw 3 lines, and all of a sudden they are in a closed shape and are caught.
Okay.
If we think that 1 per round is too many, then we just need to attach some other kind of thing to it. I would rather we just make sure that there is something that the guards can do to sort of repair, to like get the upper hand, because I just think that's a stronger option.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Also, everyone say hello to Buzzkill too.
What up, Buzzkill?
Buzzkill too.
Hey, Buzzkill, how you doing?
You better not live up to your name.
Second time I made that joke.
Good.
Good.
I'm gonna make it every time. All right, so the demo destroys walls, and we can figure out how many walls and how later. What are some other like essential characters for the thief, for the bandit? My another category, don't know the ability yet, is the mastermind. Moriarty.
I think the ability there for the mastermind would be, you can roll an additional d6 and take the higher result potentially. foreseeing the issues that might arise. Or it could be build your own walls, essentially. You've cut off points that the guard can build walls into. So you have you've developed essentially like a safe area. Or you have one point ahead of you where there's a wall up, quote wall, that they can't build upon. So
Counter walls. All right, I can get into that.
Yeah. And mine was going to be slick, and that's where they're really quick. They can roll twice and take the higher result. You're just quick. You can get out of any situation.
Yeah, all right, I'm trying to pare these down a little bit because we obviously have some playtesting here. So for this one-page RPG where one is a thief and the other is a guard, our thief classes so far are the Demolition, who can also destroy walls, the Mastermind, who can build counter walls, and then I tentatively have this as the Parkour because you've accidentally used a furry kink term, and I am not going to put it on our list.
Slick is a furry kink term?
You're welcome.
That's crazy.
Learning something new every day on this stream.
That's something I didn't want to learn.
That's crazy.
The parkour, I'm just going to write more movement because it could be 2 dice take the higher. It could end up being they get just +1 because we might find that if you roll twice and take the higher, you win on round 2 almost automatically every time. So that is certainly something we're going to do. So what are some other really big archetypes of a heist movie? We have the Demolition, we have the Mastermind, we have the parkour. What is left there? Some part of my brain is saying the hacker, right? I mean that's in there. But if it's a train heist, what's the hacker?
It doesn't really. The hacker would be the person with a bomb. Instead of the security door, you just blow up a thing.
I think your hackers
we
either
already
Demolitions
have
or
Demolition.
Mastermind.
Yeah.
I think they're one of those 2 roles pretty much every time. All right, can we think of 3 more?
My counter, the tag team. This is like the Sticky Bandits in Home Alone. There's just more than one of you.
Okay. So wait, I like this. Let's have one of them be the tag team, and then I think the next one should be the squad. The tag team is 2 people. The squad is up to unlimited number.
Okay. So already I see the mechanic here. If you've got a squad of 4 people under the control of one person, when you roll the d6, you still only have 6 pips of movement. You just split it up among the squad. One of you's gonna get fucked really quick as you try and break up the 6 pips of movement to move through, because you're moving slower. You've got a whole crew of people.
Yep.
You can shirk that and have 2 of them run ahead while the other 3 are distractions or 2 are distractions. But it's got a big ding.
All right.
Yeah, that's already
there. Can I
there.
say something? That is just kind of a mechanic all on its own for a different one-page RPG where you always play a full-sized gang. Is that you have a certain number of pips to control? All right, I like it. So then is the tag team, if it's just a duo, should be different. And then Michael, what's your idea before we lose it in this?
Buzzkill's idea actually. Getaway or Inside Man.
Ooh, espionage.
Inside Man. Yeah.
Inside Man's
Inside
very
Man.
cool idea.
So here's the thing. Does the thief know where the item is?
I think so.
If the answer's no, the inside man, they might have to investigate until they find it. So running through the space, the inside man would know where it is off rip.
Oh, I
So they
don't
can
know.
head straight for it.
That just makes
Sort
So
of like
if
a
I can-
minesweeper situation.
we would
If
just...
I can,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was just saying if we want counter because I like the idea of thief knowing where it is. The inside man, it could be instead of four pips, you have 2 pips, and you know who the real pip is, and there's a false pip.
Oh, there's... You always have a shadow self running around the space. So,
Yeah.
okay, that might be... It might be too hard. Especially if the fake one gets, revived each time. Because otherwise it's too similar to the squad.
I have an annoying observation, which I think only works because it's a one-page RPG. The guards don't win heist movies a lot.
They really don't.
I don't watch
They
heist
don't.
movies and I go, wow, the guards are definitely going to keep these guys from stealing this stuff. It might be worth saying, if you are the guard, you have the hard job. It's way
You're at
easier to steal
disadvantage.
things than it is to keep people from stealing things in this game.
There's 2 examples. One of them, again, Home Alone. He stops those motherfuckers. That's it. They're cooked. And number 2 is Die Hard. He stops the terrorists. So out of those heists, there's a couple options, but for the most part, yeah. It's like
Paul
Ocean's
Blart
11 through
stops
56.
them too.
Paul Blart stops them. In Ocean 11, do they get
so
stopped?
We got 3.
In Ocean's
Yeah.
11, do they get stopped? No. In Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, did they get stopped? No. And it depends on who the protagonist is, but they're
does.
both players, so it doesn't really, there's no easy way to figure it out. And we also have to keep in mind, our guard abilities are going to feel as stupid and broken as these do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's keep the concepts pared down a little bit, and that'll let us kind of iron out the mechanics later. So the Insider, do we like them having the Shadow Pip, Shadow Clone?
I think
Pipsu
that's
or
fun.
whatever?
I think it's cool. And you'd be like, yeah, it's the butler that they have on the inside running around causing a disturbance. So the controller doesn't know who's actually in what room.
So the Insider has the Shadow Pip, the Squad has multiple pips, the Parkour gets extra movement, the Mastermind can build counter walls, the Demolition can destroy walls. What does the Tag Team, what do the Sticky Bandits do? Do we lose the Sticky
already did the
Bandits when we gain the
2d6.
Squad? Can you pick, is it just Squad, pick how many squad mates you have? Are you a duo, a trio?
I think that works, because I don't have a better mechanic for the duo.
All right, in that case, I will erase Tag Team, and we need one more.
One more. Who's missing?
I have one that I'm not sure is a good fit, but that I think might be a little bit fun. Is it worth having one of these be straight up murderer? Do you know what I mean?
You're just a killer.
I feel like that's what we're missing. We have the Demolitions Expert, the Mastermind, the Parkour, the Squad, and the Insider. What we don't have is guy with 9 guns.
Yeah, this would be like the assassin, right?
But I don't know what
does
the
he
assassin
do, though?
does. What does the assassin do? If you roll
they fucking
cold
kill
blood
the other.
killer.
They kill the guard.
Yeah, you have
No,
to
I don't
fight.
know.
Go out back with
What?
switchblades.
We don't have any class that just has a straight bonus to a die roll. That's the one thing we're missing, where it's just you
The
roll it
extra
and you get an
movement,
additional
right?
roll.
Parkour
That's-
could go either way.
Roll 2d6 and take the
Take the
higher.
higher.
It's
Okay.
not a plus.
I pared
we-
that down to
we got
more
something.
movement in case that ability ended up being too good. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like we could do.
Okay.
But so what's your idea though? Just keep rolling.
The idea is just when you roll the d6 for your movement thing, you get to add +1 to every roll. You know, you get a minimum of
Brute
2
force.
movement each time.
I think the
It has
assassin
nothing to do
doesn't
with
work.
assassins. Yeah.
I just think the assassin doesn't work. It's not that big a deal. We're just gonna have to skip it. My next one would be either like the Maverick or the Wild Card. The Man Without a Plan would be one that we could do there for the Thief. And beyond that, I don't know. We have like 5 ideas, and I'm just not. I don't have an easy 6th. So again, we have the Demolitions Expert, we have the Mastermind, we have the Parkour Expert, we have the Squad, we have the Insider, and we can't mechanically support guy who beats people up. What we don't have yet, I will say, is like a smooth talker. We don't have the face.
True.
Oh, Spencer, you had kind of mentioned it before. It's the Tenacious one. They have a second life.
Oh, ooh, that's rough.
It is rough, but
But
they don't
I
get
could
another
see-
bonus.
I could see that being the face. When you get captured the first time, you get out. You talk your way out. And then you get captured the second time. They're like, it was you, you motherfucker. It was you. I knew it. And then you're actually caught. So that's the face's ability. You get one get out of jail free card, literally.
I like that. Okay, so our abilities then: the Demolition, who can destroy walls; the Mastermind, who can build barriers; the Parkour, who has extra movement; the Face, who has 1 extra life; the Squad, that has like 10 thieves, and you need to capture all of them, but their movement is like super duper limited; and the Insider, who has 1 shadow. So, okay, so I even understand the mechanics. So, like, the Squad needs to share their movement across their people. The Insider doesn't. The Insider gets to take full movement with both.
But only one of them can grab the item.
Yeah. Versus the Demo, the Mastermind, the Parkour. Okay, I think that's pretty solid, and I think we ought to move on unless we have another very strong idea.
One thing, Buzzkill, I wanted to just so you knows I saw you saw it talking about something that sets traps. I feel like that's really going for the guard.
The guard is that's Macaulay Culkin. Trust me, I'm on the Home Alone grind,
The
brother.
scamp.
We got him coming
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have traps. Don't worry. They also said that the Inside Man can also be like Spy in TF2. I never really got into Team Fortress 2, sadly.
Yeah, I think that would work if we had some kind of in-character person for the guard. We don't as of now. If we change that, I do think that would be a really good idea, is being able to like confuse the board a little bit. It's just we don't have that currently set up. We need to just find a way. So we are making Breakthrough, a one-page RPG where you are performing a heist. One person plays the thief and one person plays the guard. You are trying to the guard is trying to box in the thief before the thief can steal an item and get to the edge of the board. The thief classes are demolitions that can destroy walls, the mastermind that can build counter walls, the parkour that has extra movement, the face that has an extra life, the squad that has more than one character, and the insider who has two, but one of them is fake. Oh my goodness. Location's probably not going to have a mechanic because Target didn't have a mechanic, which leaves us with the guard. We need to talk out some guard classes. 4, 5, 6, just making sure I have the space that I need, and what their abilities are. And we don't need to be shy about these because we haven't been so far. I would really like for one of them to be an animal, or it could just be you are not a person, like, you know, you are some kind of lovable mascot.
Non-human entity.
Yeah, calling it the mascot or something.
The mascot is good because we're going to have AI. We're going to have the live security system.
So, if this is the person building walls and trying to lock the other person down, what does the mascot get?
Ugh. The mascot's hard because there's such a wide range of what a mascot could do. You know, dog would bite and slow down. A bird would draw attention in some way, like stuff like that.
Let's get a couple more of them out then. Let's go mechanic second if we're gonna get stuck quite so quickly as all of that. So the first one up we have is the mascot. And then other things we had innocent bystander, we had vigilante, we had off duty, which is pretty similar to vigilante. What of those really stands out to you as like a real titan of the genre here?
We have the trap maker, and that one's easy for me. It's invisible, not even an invisible wall. When the thief encounters a trap that has been laid, their movement drops to 0. They run out of whatever pips they have left. And then on the next roll, they get to move past it. So the guard with that class selection would, instead of building a wall, could choose to drop a trap. So it would, they'd start building the walls around, they'd hit the trap, and then they'd complete the walls around on the next round.
So our map has a grid. It's like A through Z, 1 through 20, and they can jot down where traps are.
Yep.
This is like
fun.
really involved.
There's a lot going on in this one-page RPG.
We've got it, but boy howdy.
We've sort of made more of a board game at this point than an actual one-page RPG.
A little bit? This is just a board game. Listen, if we need to try to get our first board game out, we could do a Kickstarter.
Hey, yeah.
We'll be fine.
We'll kickstart that.
All right, so the trap maker gets to place grid traps. I think that makes a lot of sense. The mascot, we don't have anything for just yet. What are some others that we can think of here?
I have a mechanic, but I don't know who would go with. It could go with a mascot, and call it like Inhuman Brain. They can make diagonal walls.
Oh, the mascot's ability is Scamper. They can go diagonal. They can
Sure.
yeah. Well, because they don't have a pip, do they? See?
Yeah.
It's a toughie, man.
I think diagonal walls work because they only need to do 3 walls, essentially.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about the fact that the diagonal saves you
Gotta be 4.
a corner.
Mm-hmm. So it drops from 4 to 3. Easy.
All right, that's a good one. What are some other big archetypal... one of them is like the vigilante, right? Is like the person that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, what are they doing? If you're not supposed to be there and you're protecting it, it's normally about being sneaky and like getting around in the tower, you know? He's going through the goddamn vents.
Yeah.
What does that mean in game system terms when you can build a wall anywhere? Is there a limitation on the other guards as to where they're allowed to place walls is within a certain distance of the.
So the question is, do
The
we
thief?
want to?
Could they?
Do we
Could
want?
they make a?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Just say it.
Could they make a line that's not attached to another line, like just a no man's line space?
Well, I think no matter what, they can do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because otherwise you can't really set traps. Otherwise the thief's going to win every time. My first thought is, do we need to make it so that we have 2 pips and the guard can only place within a certain distance of themselves, and the thief needs... Do you see what I mean? Do we have 2 people that are moving
Are you actually moving around?
to try to like chase them? In which case the vigilante can take their piece off the board and place it anywhere they want, like once every... on some trigger. Because that's what I would be. It's he's in the goddamn walls is the name of the ability, and it's remove your pip from the board. You can place it within 9 squares in like any direction of where it just was.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think it's nice having them move around as well.
Then what I will say then is this clarifies a few abilities. The demo can destroy walls. The mastermind can put down walls that the guard cannot pass through. The mastermind can lock a wall, and then I'll or probably lock a couple, because one at a time is going to be kind of rough.
Does the thief, or not the thief, does the guard roll a d6 twice? Once for movement, once for wall build? Or do they roll once, and that's movement and wall build?
This is where we get into the things that are mechanically fun that I don't know if they will work. It would need to, my instinct would be the guard's movement is 1d4 because the guard is always slower than the thief. Or it could just be that the guard gets to move like 1d3 and then place 1d6 walls. Because it puts them in a situation where the guard isn't chasing the thief. They need to be thinking and going, all right, how can I cut them off?
Yeah, how do I build this wall and stop them so I can catch up? That makes sense. I think it is separate. I think a d4 of movement and a d6 of wall build each round for the guard.
Okay.
The only thing is we have now gotten rid of our Monopoly dice a little bit.
No, we'll just make it
Sadly.
1d3 instead of
yeah,
1d4.
D4.
We'll just make it, you move 1d6 divided by 2. So 2 and a 1 is 1 space, a 3 and a 4 is 2 spaces, a 5 and a 6 is 3 spaces. So they move at half the speed that the rogue does. Except for one of them that gets to roll a full d6, which we'll come up with in a minute.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is one of the options. I don't know. So the vigilante can move their character.
Mm-hmm. They get to move off map, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So how many is that so far on
3.
the guard side? 3.
3 down, 3 to go. And we already have one of them. So if we have somebody that can like zigzag around, and we have somebody that can place traps, and we have somebody that can like vanish and then reappear somewhere else with a limitation, who is just very fast? Like, what is the archetype of guard that is just incredibly quick? Right? Who's our like
okay.
Tom Cruise running around?
It's like Tom Cruise. Is the mechanic that if the guard functions as one of the walls?
It could be.
I could see that working. So that way they close off 3. The one who's really fast catches up behind the thief in the 3 walls, and that's game over. They've caught him inside 3 walls with the guard as the final wall. Quote unquote.
I would think like the rookie's the speedster. Like they're young.
They're young.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Buzz has also said a guard that has like a lasso or a net for extra reach.
The exotic. They
No.
just do weird stuff.
But what is... That's either... So that could be the trap maker, but is it fun if there's one that's like... Is there somebody who gets more of a benefit? Because if all the other guards, right, need to block you in with walls, it is fun if one of them is... It can also, if it shares your space, you lose.
Ooh.
Is there like the competent or like the killer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a fun idea.
The agent.
And would that be 5?
That'd be like
That'd be our
RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop. That's why I said like
RoboCop, special
the
agent.
The special.
Yeah. If they catch you, they got you. That's fun. And they're still at a disadvantage even with that because they're rolling a limited die number. The last one has got to be the AI. We've already talked about it a couple of times. The question is more, what does the AI do?
Steals moves from online, passes it off as its own.
It's generative content,
All right.
It's a large
so
language
the
model.
mascot can make diagonals. The trap maker can set traps, obviously. The vigilante can move, can like jump their pip. The rookie just gets to move a little bit more. The agent can tackle. What does the AI get to do? The AI is awfully close to the trap maker already.
Yeah, I was gonna say the AI could be. It doesn't have a movement pip. It is everywhere, but it doesn't gain the benefit of being an additional spot. It can't have 3 walls and then them standing there. That never works.
Oh, so they move on the lines. Now I understand what you were saying. You were really confusing me with that. I didn't understand.
Sorry.
I got it now. No, you're good. Yeah, so I would say either that or they get less walls because they can't be as reactive. So I'll say if we keep your idea of the guard also counting as a wall, then I think the AI just doesn't count as a wall, but can place anywhere on the map. If we are not, and the guard is just moving around normally and is blocked by the walls, therefore, I know this is getting a little complicated, then the AI just cannot place as many walls. So I'll
Michael,
either write
one way or another.
I like keeping it where the guard is also a wall. So we make it so it's like the AI just isn't a wall, but it can put walls anywhere.
Nice.
Buzz has a question. Do the guards always know where the thieves are?
I think so. Because
Yeah.
the goal is we're trying to mix kind of that tactical, the like kind of fun of trying to outmaneuver somebody when you are playing, chess, checkers, any of the strategy game like that, with some RPG mechanics that make the descriptions more fun than just like playing speed chess with your friend. So instead you are getting to sort of fold in these other things and have these abilities and narrate it. So it is, I think, I do think
I feel
they
like
have
it
to
makes
be
it
able to
more.
tell each other.
Yeah, it makes it more tactical rather than more lucky.
I think
They
there is
both
totally...
know where the other one is.
Now, I want to be super clear. I think it would be damn easy to just start over with that as our core concept. And there's like
Sure.
a battleship mechanic. A one-page RPG where they're like, you need a battleship board to play for this would be extremely funny. Making an RPG where you need a battleship board.
We are 57 minutes deep, but it is so tantalizing to do a battleship board. Ah, shit.
So here's what I'll say: when whoever said that in the Twitch chat, give it a try on
Buzz.
You could play this on like private grids with a folder between you, and like not know where each other are, and so because then the thief needs to try to figure out where the guard is based on where the walls are popping up. No, so then, I don't know, man. It makes it really hard. It's a good idea. Damn, that is a really good idea. We'll file that away.
And there would be a
hard
hit
version.
when the guard puts a wall within one space of the thief. They would know that they're there, so they'd start building around it.
Fuck,
It's cool.
We're making a board game now. I'm gonna write it down. I'm writing it down.
We'll put it down. We're gonna keep building based off of the original idea, but there's something there.
Yeah, they were thinking if it was like that, the AI gets like a camera, or they get a scan, or like a sonar, or
Yeah,
Guys, I
there'd be
really like it.
infrared.
I'm thinking
They
about
just see you.
I'm thinking about how stressful the first 5 rounds are, where you are just trying to stay as far away from the guard as possible, and where the guard needs to immediately like run to the edges of the map near the treasure because it needs to immediately like to block off like side entrances. You basically are going to end up making like a little dungeon map as you are working, because you're going to try to close off the side paths and not leave too many out, and then try to like make a little fence that you know where they're going to be, when they're going to be there. Oh no,
It's a whole can of worms.
It's a
There's so
really
many more
good-
things to keep in mind there, though.
I put it on the list. I think that's pretty solid.
We got it over there.
Because then
So what are we missing right now? What's left to do for the original idea, Sans Battleship?
I think we just finished,
Damn.
because
yeah, we got 6 and 6.
we are making Breakthrough, a one-page RPG heist game where you are vying for territory. The thief gets to random roll and then decide what the target is, which has no mechanic, and then they get to pick their class, which does. It lets them interact with the walls in different ways. The guard gets to pick where they are robbing from, which is just for fun, and then they have their own classes with their own abilities that are associated with the walls. The thief needs to get to the stolen item and get it to any edge of the map, not return all the way to wherever they exited from. The guard needs to trap the thief in an enclosed shape. And that's the only thing they need to do. They just need to trap the thief in an enclosed shape. Optionally, you could play with a divider, and each of you could have your own map, and then the guard is never detected by the thief until it's already too late. They are making the walls, and the thief needs to say if when a wall is placed, they are within 2 spaces of it. That is our mechanic, and that's all that mechanic would be. It's not that complicated. It's just, you are the thief, and you say, I'm within 2 spaces of that. And the guard's like, Okay.
He's around.
All right. And what I like about that, especially if we have a divider, is like all the question marks that are going to be drawn on the map by the guard as they are like trying to figure it out. That is the RPG figured out. The only things that we have left with our 29 minutes remaining, we're getting pretty good at this one-page RPG thing.
Yeah, we are.
Is we do have 2 more random tables, so we need to pick some archetypal items being stolen and places to steal an item from. And then we could revisit some of the mechanics again and see, like, do we think it's a good idea to say, no, you play with a divider between the 2 of you? Things like that.
Okay, so D6 for treasure. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah.
Axpex was just saying hello. He said you got here late, but you are here now, so welcome.
And you probably just heard a little breakdown from Ethan, so that's awesome.
Yeah, good timing.
We've developed this thing.
I know, I love DM Writer's Room, but the fact that I need to repeat everything we've done every 10 minutes is not my favorite part of it. But it does keep us fresh. After I started doing it, I noticed that we dropped leads.
You get quick.
Way less. And so now, even when we're not doing one-pagers, I'll say, all right, here's what we've done so far. Okay. So we can catch up to our own notes.
It definitely helps.
So now we are taking a look at 6 big archetypal. Think about every heist movie you've ever watched from the perspective of good guys or bad guys. 6 big archetypes of things being stolen. Obviously, if one of them is cold hard cash, right?
It's 100%. More money than you've ever seen in your life is that first block. Easy.
Big money, no whammies.
Number 2 would be like something of value only to you. So this is something connected to a backstory.
You know something else I don't like? Sorry, that I really, really like? We didn't say that the guards are... that I like about Thief and Guard. Guards are not always good.
No, absolutely
and
not.
Thieves are not always bad. So I think... I like the target. Well, number 1 is big money. For number 6, can we do priceless artifact? Can we do artifact or something?
We could do nuclear codes.
I was thinking state secrets.
Yeah. So you're stopping them from doing the bad thing.
So big money, artifact, nuke codes? Or do we just want to say lethal weapon?
I think that state secrets was fun from Michael, and you could narrate that, either way.
Also, Expect just said they are super new to D&D. They never played, just watched, and they're really new to Critical Role this year.
Oh.
So, yeah, Critical Role is a very good start. Right, we're just kind of doing a one-pager.
There is certainly a lot of DM Writer's Room D&D focused stuff that you can take a poke through as we continue. 100%. That's normally what we're doing. Today we're focusing in on a one-page RPG because they're really fun to come up with, and then we can usually get them out for people to play.
And shameless plug here, if you go to our YouTube channel, Foolhardy Press on YouTube and on TikTok. But on YouTube, you can find the actual play 5e podcast that Ethan is running for us. Me and Michael and a few of our other friends are playing in it, called Song of the Reliquary. We are over 10 episodes deep, and it is 5e. So if you're looking for something else to listen to, we got them all uploaded right there.
Hysterically, part of our mission, which I am now gently regretting, is that we were we're going to play 2024 D&D, and if we run into a rules problem, we are going to stop and find the answer. Which has happened on stream a couple of times now. So you get to enjoy that awkward, those juicy, awkward pauses where somebody goes, wait, is that the
Let me hit
same
that-
as it
let me
was
look at that
last
rule.
edition? And it's like,
Yeah.
no, did they change it? And then you have to go back through and be like, how does Smite work now? All right, cool. So, thank you so much for chiming in with that. So, we have big money, state secrets, and an artifact. We have 3 more things that people steal in a heist or similar jam.
This is where we go to like personal effect. It's something that's important to you that this person has for whatever reason, and you come up with the reason why they have it and whatever it is. Keep things vague, general.
A little bit of a curveball, a magical item.
Magic
item.
Yeah, the crystal skull. Something along those lines.
All right, so then I have my pitch for our 6th item. If it's big money, personal effect, state secrets, artifact, big magic, big science.
Yeah, perfect. That's 6.
I love the idea that one of the things you could be stealing is the Skynet chip.
Oh, Axpec just hit up the YouTube chat. What
Oh.
up? And if you're looking for a completed campaign, it's not D&D 5e. It is Monster of the Week. You can listen to The Prince of Charming. That is a 9-episode miniseries that we did several months ago. So you can listen to that as well. After the stream, check out the page, and you can watch everything there.
So
But
if
what
our
up?
target, that is our targets out of the way. So again, we're making a 1-page RPG called Breakthrough. It's a heist game. You play thieves or guards. Thieves have abilities to try to dodge walls. Guards have abilities to try to build them and trap the thief. The thief has several classes. The guard has several classes. We have targets, which are big money, personal effects, big magic, big science, state secrets, and artifacts. And now we need to come up with 6 archetypal locations as well. For number 1, I think we have to do like moving vehicle.
Yeah, because that includes airship. It includes train. It's got big boat, like shipping container boat. You got options to play around with it. I think moving vehicle works great. Moving vehicle
on the move, because it needs to sound at least a little interesting. On the move.
You've got a big tower. And that can be a skyscraper. That can be a wizard's tower if there's a magic item.
Let me take a step back. So I like that. I think on the move, and then for tower, I have one in my head which is palace, which would be stealing from a manor, stealing from a palace, stealing from anything like that. Is that, do we think, an extension of the tower, or do we like the idea that it is on the move, the palace, the tower?
I think it's different. I get a different vibe from the tower versus the palace.
I think you're in a worse situation in a tower. It's very one way in, one way out. All right, so on the move, the palace, the tower. My next one would be like the vault. If tower goes up and is dangerous, the vault goes down and is dangerous.
Buzz asked, if it's a tower, how do we go up?
I
think that it's
strictly flavor. You go up by describing it that way. This is basically just to make sure that newer players don't panic when they need to suddenly start describing where they are and what is there and what they're there for. By saying, like, you're in a tower, it immediately gives you a bunch of information about, like, oh, okay, I'm the thief. So if I'm in a tower, I can climb into vents, I can go in the elevator shaft, I can go outside and describe myself having, like, suction cups to climb up the glass. It just really quickly gives you things to pull up on. A lot of one-page RPGs,
device.
A lot of one-page RPGs are basically like anime training weights to quickly narrate something based on the information you get from dice rolls and mechanics, so that when you take a look at a game like Dungeons and Dragons or Monster of the Week or Pathfinder, more complicated games, it's easier for you to suddenly narrate new things that are happening after you've learned 37 pages of rules. You know what I mean? And hello to Zaid in the chat. Zaid, you're catching us towards the end. We are really hitting through this. We're probably going to have to do some bits here at the end, which is fun. We haven't done those in a minute. So we need 2 more. We have on the move, the palace, the tower, and the vault.
On the move, palace, tower, vault.
Aspect said that they are scared to play this. Good. Yeah. This is
pretty intensive.
This is an intense one.
Yeah, if you take a look at other games, Resonance is the one we made last time in our last one-page RPG stream, and it's kind of in the similar wheelhouse. It is you play a mech, and you need to work together to like do different actions and things. Again, we're in that kind of training weights place here.
Oh, definitely.
So on the move, the palace, the tower, the vault.
There's got to be two more. The casino.
Yeah, so I was gonna actually. So I was gonna say I don't know if it's too similar to the vault. I was gonna say the fort. Right, the vault has big, heavy doors and is hard to get into. The fort is full of guards and is well protected. Does those feel too similar, maybe?
I think that it gives you a different idea of what's going on. I think that the fort works.
I'm going to put it in soft writing in case I erase it. So, Spencer, when I think about what defines the casino, it's mostly just that there's also a million people there.
Yeah.
So, on the move, the palace, the tower, the vault, I just wrote the force. That's not what I meant. The fort. May the force be with you. Luke.
Like the population center.
You know, that's too many words.
Call it.
Like the hubbub or the hub.
The hub, I think, works.
The hub works.
And we just put a little hyphen with the hub, a place where people congregate. A la no.
So
Buzz has also given a good one. The science lab.
Oh, the lab is cool too.
Yeah, the lab is very cool.
I think the fort is too close to the vault, and it's the lab.
There we go.
So
the
it's
other idea I was
on the
having
move,
was,
the palace, the tower, the vault, the lab, and the hub.
I like this. The only other idea I was having is more of a funny one. Is like the superhero hideout.
It's too specific.
It's
that's
either
where like the forge or the vault.
I was about to
comes
say,
in.
I think if you're in the Avengers, it's the tower, and I think if you're in the what do you call them? If you're in the Justice League, it's the vault. The vault is just in space instead of underground.
The Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, I mean we did the damn thing on that.
With that is in fact our last little bit of random table. So to summarize, if you want to play the one-page RPG that we have just come up with in an hour and a half called Breakthrough, you are one of two players, and you are either playing the thief or the guard. If you are the thief, first you roll 1d6 to decide the target, your options being big money, personal effects, magic item, big science, state secrets, or an artifact, and then you roll for what kind of thief you are. The demo can destroy walls, the mastermind can build hostile walls, the parkour can move faster, the face gets +1 life, the squad gets multiple pips, and the insider gets 1 fake pip. You are playing against the guard. The guard rolls to determine the location and then gets to describe it. That can be on the move, the palace, the tower, the vault, the lab, or the hub. And then they get to roll to determine who they are. The guard can be the mascot, who can draw diagonal walls, the trap maker, who can place traps that the thief cannot see, the vigilante, that can suddenly move across the board in short bursts, the rookie, that can consistently move faster, the agent, who can, if they find the thief's space, move through it, and that will count as getting them, which makes more sense if the thief is invisible and you are playing with a divider. And the AI, who has no body and so cannot block as their own wall, but who can place walls anywhere on the map. To determine what you do on your turn, the thief rolls 1d6 and gets to move that many squares and then use their ability if it's relevant. The guard first rolls 1d6 and they get to move half that many spaces, so either 1, 2, or 3, moving on lines, and then they get to roll 1d6 and create that many walls to try to protect the treasure and block the thief out, and then eventually trap the thief within a wall. Once the thief successfully manages to get to the treasure, which we're going to have to come up with some system to roll to figure out where that lands, after the thief rolls to determine where the treasure is, they need to get to the treasure and then get to the edge of the map before they can be blocked in by walls. And that is how you play Breakthrough, a one-page RPG for 2 players going up against one another in one-on-one combat.
And now, as we are wont to do, I would like to test out the system as much as we can. And that is rolling some d6s to random generate and see what the story is that we come up with.
Okay, cool. So we have 4 variables and 3 people.
Who wants to take on
I think Michael
the flavor
rolls
variable?
twice because it's his idea.
Yeah, Michael, you'll do the double roll.
Expect says this sounds dope. I agree.
Hell yeah.
This sounds super fun.
I think this is a good one. I think I'm sort of, right now, I am trying to imagine getting all of the rules down on 1 page of paper, which is part of my and Spencer's job on these, and I'm getting a little nervous about it, but all right, cool. So
It's a 2-page RPG.
So Michael, which category? Michael, which category do you want to roll first? Do you want to roll for the target or the location? Are you the guard or the thief in this case?
I'll thief, and I'm going for the target.
All right, so go ahead and roll 1d6.
1d6. 3.
3, a magic item.
Let's go.
All right, and then I'll take the next roll. I will determine the class of our thief. Our thief is number 1, the demo.
Dancing, breaking walls.
And now
I cast fireball on the wall and blow it to smithereens.
Spencer, Michael,
Hell
whichever
yeah.
of you would like to can go next.
All right, I'll roll. Is the next one the
Location.
location? Michael, roll the location, and I'll roll the guard.
Okay, so the location is 2.
2, the palace.
Oh, a magic item in the king's palace. All right, I'll roll the next one for the thief. I got a 3.
3,
Or the guard.
you are the vigilante.
Okay.
So, now we have a choice
that's
here. Do
fun.
we want to roll 1d3 to see which of us poor SOBs need to narrate the story, or do we want to go down the list and each describe the portion we rolled, which means Michael has to do 2?
We'll each describe the portion we rolled. Michael, you do too. Is your idea?
Hoist
right.
it upon your own petard in this moment.
That's all right. I do.
Yeah, what are we,
Is the
so the first
item
thing you're
and-
narrating is, what are we stealing? What is the magic item?
We are stealing. It's the scepter of ruling.
Like Jafar would do.
Yes.
Scepter of ruling. All right, so this is like a scepter of rulership there. All right, I think that's really good. With the demo then, if it is this scepter, we are a classic high fantasy goblin sapper. So we are like a goblin littered with grenades and explosives and jars and bags of scorpions and all kinds of just nonsense that they are going to use to try to break in here and steal the scepter of rulership. And I will even say this sapper goblin wants to do this. I'm not sure this item is actually magic. Somebody told this goblin whoever holds the staff is the king, and the goblin was like, "It's magic," and is convinced that if he can steal it and hold it aloft, he will become the king of England or whatever. All right, up next,
Goblin.
Michael. It doesn't need to literally be the palace. What is the palace in this adventure?
The palace. I think it is not the straight up palace. But it is it's the prince's abode.
His lodgings.
Which are it's nice.
It's
And the
delightful.
prince has it because he's getting ready to be the next ruler.
Oh, he's like practicing for this. The king is sickly, and the prince has been like practicing the opening ceremony where he holds the staff and walks around. All right, pretty good. And now, Spencer, who is the vigilante in the prince's palace trying to keep a sapper goblin from stealing the scepter of ruling? The fact that we rolled the only fantasy option.
The vigilante is the hero that the king hired to bring the scepter from the actual king's palace to the prince's estate, who will not get paid until the prince is brought to the ceremony with the scepter in hand. So has to get this done so he gets that money.
All right. And so as the two of you would be drawing squares, you would be a goblin trying to get away from a vigilante that is a guard trying to help deliver the prince and the scepter of ruling from the prince's abode, this off-site palace, to the actual palace so that he can be inducted as the king, as his sickly father can no longer rule the kingdom. And with that, we've made a one-page art cinema, absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema.
And so our sapper goblin would be able to destroy walls, and our vigilante would get to be able to move around very rapidly. So I very much like the image of like the wall explodes and the vigilante is jumping like down a chute or something into another part of this kind of pseudo magical castle. With that, we have just done a talk about a loose concept playtest. We now know that the random tables would work. Whether or not the system would, we will have to figure out in due time. Although I think it will kind of by default. It's just a question of your odds of winning or losing. But we will spare the viewers about 300 playtests that we are going to have to do of this one pager before it can get up and get going. Easier to playtest than our last one, and I really appreciate that. This is going to be easier to run games of than Resonance was.
Resonant.
Question. How long do you think a playthrough of this game would take?
Nothing has ever depended more on how competitive the two people are.
Yeah.
I think we already talked about there being 3 difficulties where like there's a nice long like rectangular game on the front, and then on the back there's like a moderate sized block and then a giant one that covers the bottom third. I think you could end up playing this game for like 3.5 hours trying to outmaneuver each other and getting like increasingly frustrated, or I think you could end up getting it done in like a tight 20 if you don't play over tactically and super carefully.
I have a good touch point for that. A game of Battleship, according to the internet, takes between 10 to 60 minutes.
Yeah, there
We're
you
talking
go.
a pretty wide span for a
Pretty
game
wide
like
mark
this.
there.
That's 60 minutes of Battleship.
60 minutes of
Me
Battleship
either,
would be
but-
a toughie. I don't know if I could deal with that. All right, we've got 9 minutes left on the board. I think it's time to do a bit and then sign her off. We've kind of just done you say, they say, I say. So let's start with pop culture character creator and then see if we feel like doing one more. So for those of you who don't know, on DM Writer's Room, sometimes we're just too good. We figure out what we want to do pretty early, and it's never a good idea. And this is a tip for when you're prepping at home. If you get to a good stopping point where like you know what the dungeon looks like and you know who the bad guy is and you know what their powers and magic items are and it looks good, don't keep fiddling. Like don't keep taking a screwdriver to it. Once it feels done, let it ride. You know, the party is always going to do things that are going to surprise you so much that you're going to have to ad-lib anyways. Don't waste your time trying to prepare for everything. It's actually something that I think Spencer does this a little bit too, we take from Monster of the Week, which talks all the time about don't plan the contingency. Plan the villain's evil plan. And when the party interrupts it, you will be authentically surprised like the villain is and trying to scramble to keep up, and that's a good thing. Don't run away from that feeling, because it gives you a great opportunity to have your villain not be this like weird omnipotent figure like some DMs will have, where I think of a lot of GMs where the minute the players do something, somehow every villain is immediately aware that they did it, where they did it, why, and who helped them, even though there's no logical reason why they should know any of that, which is kind of a pretty common, I guess, cinema sin of Dungeons and Dragons a little bit. I will say, beloved show we were talking about a little bit earlier, I will say somebody particularly guilty of that crime is Critical Role. Often I'm like, and how does the bad guy know that any of that shit happened in that underground dungeon? And the answer is, there's got to be a plot, buddy. All right, Spencer, are you ready for us to, are you going to roll it up, or one of us going to roll it up?
Michael, roll the 10s, and Ethan, roll the other ones.
Yeah.
10s gives us. We're in the 70s.
78.
78. All right, guys. This is huge. Captain America.
Captain America in Dungeons and Dragons. Interesting.
All right.
Okay. All right. I like it.
So off rip, did we talk about what this bit actually is?
Yeah, so in Pop Culture Character Creator, we roll a 1d100. Spencer grabs it off of a list of 100 famous pop culture figures, and then we try to assign who we think they would be in Dungeons and Dragons. Our goal used to be as accurate as possible. We had to abandon that almost instantly. Our goal is to make wild and outlandish claims that the other people cannot say does not make sense, essentially, because we try to not cross over too much. Otherwise, we would all say the same thing for everything. I have mine, and I think it's extremely silly.
I'm just looking at subclasses really quick.
Okay, Ethan, let yours rip.
I think Captain America is a Hexblade warlock. He has Pact of the Blade with his shield. He
Yeah.
only uses buffing spells on himself. I think he only uses basically Bull's Strength or Bear's Endurance. And his patron is the American Dream.
True.
And there you
That's
go.
just factual.
Because that would let him wear medium armor, and he's not running around in plate. He has like reinforced with like some like shoulder work and things and shield. So that's medium armor, shield proficiency. He doesn't really use weapons, so we don't need to worry about that martial weapon proficiency, although he would have it as a hex blade. And he has sworn his hex weapon is his shield. It increases his AC, lets him knock people down. He just isn't focused on damage in the way that other people would be.
Michael, you got it?
I was just gonna say, Buzz had a good zinger. He's fighting a real Hydra.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so mine is going to be a champion fighter. And it pretty cut and dry on this. But I do think that he probably took like the archer feat and is just homebrewing it to be I throw a shield instead of I shoot a bow.
Yeah, because it doesn't do that much damage. It's very funny to be like, hey, I don't feel like throwing daggers. Can I just throw my shield and we'll call it
throw the
1d4?
shield.
And the guy will be like, how do you want to get it back? And he's like,
Yeah.
Can't it just bounce back? He's like,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that where this comes in, especially in the champion handbook, is remarkable athlete. You get an additional half proficiency in acrobatics, athletics, sleight of hand, stealth, initiative rolls, and several other possible ability checks. It's like a jack of all trades. They show Captain America doing all that shit throughout the series.
and I wanted to explain, thank you, I forgot to explain mechanics. The reason I went with Hexblade is getting the super soldier serum is why he can use his charisma boost to do everything, is why he can use his
Yeah.
charisma to attack with his shield. Is basically he just got buff because he was such a good dude or whatever, right? That kind of like whole
And
super serum
he can
aspect.
summon his weapon back to his hand. Like he just gets his hex pack weapon back, which doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense for a shield otherwise.
Which I like. All right,
Okay,
Michael.
I'm going with Paladin, Oath of the Ancients.
Ooh,
Ancient.
outside the box
First off,
pick.
First off, Captain America, a little bit ancient at this point. He's a few hundred years old.
All right.
And Oath of the Ancients works a lot with crowd controlling and stuff like that. Cap's a crowd controller. He's pushing people back. He's proning them, everything. I also think that his smite is him smacking the shit out of people with the shield.
Just hitting him with a shield, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Really solid.
And
I
that
think
makes
good run through. What's up?
that would be the US agent would be an Oathbreaker paladin.
Yeah, of course.
Using the shield to kill. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's really funny. The shield just starts using greatsword stats. All right. And with that, thank you all so much for watching DM Writer's Room. This is a show where we demystify the DMing, GMing, and TTRPG creation process live with you. We come up with all of these things in this little hour and a half time block, as well rounded out as we can. And usually, we then get to work on trying to make them the kind of thing that we can publish and that you can pick up. We've done that mostly with the one-pagers. It's a much bigger task, believe it or not, trying to get some of the adventures and dungeons down. So we've had a little bit less with that, but all things build in due time. You can catch 3 streams here at Foolhardy Press. They all start at 7:30 p.m. on Sundays. You can catch Game Masters, Masters of Games, where the 3 of us play games we either have already mastered or are trying to. We just went through Castle Crashers. We might run on back Baldur's Gate 3's way. We're not quite sure yet. We have a couple of ideas, and we're still trying to figure out what we want to do next. On Mondays, you can catch The Party Makes Things Worse. That's our actual play stream. Our last campaign was Spencer running Monster of the Week in a game called The Prince of Charming. Super fun, 9 easy breezy episodes to listen to. Real joy to play in. Right now, we're doing The Song of the Reliquary in the D&D system. That is in the World of Prospect, which we came up with live on this stream. Has been very fun so far. I also thought it would be like 10 to 15 episodes, and instead it is 11, and we have quite a bit to go. So I think it's going to be closer to 20 maybe. But things are really picking up, so I'm honestly super not sure how many more episodes we have left. It's really up to how you guys approach it. And then, of course, on Tuesdays, you can catch DM Writer's Room, which you're watching now. If you're already on the YouTube, great job. If you're on Twitch, go check us out on YouTube, where number 1, you can catch our VODs, and number 2, you can find a bunch of videos that Spencer has been making for about 100 years. We do all kinds of fun research and scripting to get into those to make sure that we are covering diverse topics in the D&D world, and advice videos on occasion that everybody loves and has no other opinions about.
They're really cool about it.
We have a couple coming up and a couple in the past that were all really, really fun and can, I think, teach you a little bit more about maybe some of the background of D&D that not everybody knows, which is a good time. Also, check us out on TikTok, where Spencer makes some sort of sillier videos. I know our focus has drifted more towards Instagram and YouTube, so the TikTok is mostly old remembrances at this point. We did think they were going to get rid of that bad boy for a while, you know? Check us out on itch.io, where you can find our other one-page RPG, The Last Thanksgiving, a turkey-tinged tale of vengeance, where you play some farmed turkeys trying to kill the farmer to end Thanksgiving for good as far as they're concerned. And we are soon going to have Resonance up there, a mega RPG for 3 to 6 players trying to learn to work together. Check us out on DriveThruRPG, where you can catch our first ever D&D adventure called The Lich's Dollhouse, an introductory adventure for level 1 characters, where you try to make your way through a Lich's strange toy house to get a hold of their phylactery. Kind of an interesting little... Oh, wait. They're not phylacteries anymore. What are they called? Soul stones, I think? Where you can find a Lich's soul stone by making your way through this sort of odd, cartoonish dungeon. We had a lot of fun with that. It has all custom monster stat blocks, a choice that I never regretted at any point during its creation. And in magic items, there's a lot to check out there. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Oh.
One last thing. Hecate wants to say hello. She's able to make it to the last little bit. So hello, welcome.
Hello. Feel free to
check out the VOD on YouTube, Foolhardy Press. We've got this all uploaded on there, so check it out there as well.
But still happy to have you.
Happy to have you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.